Big poppin', money in the bank, coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me big poppin'. Money in the bank, coming, dropping a deposit. Having it my way, so I got these bitches watching. Steady getting to it, couldn't fit it in my pocket. Flexing everything, baby, tell me what the topic.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite doctor, that girl, Henny. And I'm about to pour up on all of this hoopla that is going on. Now, baby, you know, the streets are in shambles and the people are out here. I think they are smoking dope and oatmeal, you guys. I'm so serious because I'm watching all the shenanigans and the shenanigans that are going on in these streets. And baby, the way these people is out here trying to entangle Diddy up in this, baby, this is not August Alsina and Jada Pinkett Smith. There's no entanglement here for me. Because if you jump down the rabbit hole, baby, you're going to get lost. And trust and believe me, Henny Legal done been, me and Henny Legal done been down these Epstein rabbit hole. It's like once you jump into the Epstein rabbit hole, it's like a bottomless pit because it just keeps giving. There's always a plot, a twist, and a turn at every corner. Now, this is going to be a jam-packed one, depending upon how you guys participate. Now, please be sure that you are hitting the like button and not just closing the poll. Okay. And be sure that you answer the question for me if you think that this has something to do with Diddy, because I really would like to understand why. And please stop. Don't send me no links to nobody else's lives talking about this is about Diddy and Diddy about to come home. He about to be freed and all of that, because I'm going to refer you to my last night's live where I told you it could go that way, but it could go a whole nother way too and not actually work out in his favor. But I don't feel that this has anything to do with Diddy. I just feel like Diddy is caught in the crossfire of all of this. Because he was just prosecuted by Maurene Comey, but everybody's dancing in the streets and celebrating. I swear I seen somebody running through the internet streets topless, okay, twerking like it was 1994, because they just, look, I'm not anti-Diddy, I'm not pro-Diddy, but what I'm also not is blind, and I'm not bought. Not saying anybody else is, but what I'm saying is I'm not bought. I can't be persuaded. I took a stance on how I was going to cover the case, and I stood on it, okay? And I covered the case the way I covered it. I did not give you any bias. I stayed in the middle, and that's how I remained the whole time. And since coming out, I just see a lot of narratives being pushed, and it's sickening. Okay? But anyway, now that I've gotten that out the way, let's get into what we are talking about today, because people are really still talking about this Maurene Comey thing. And, you know, the Donald Trumpster, the dumpster, that is the Trumpster, has come out and had some things to say. Now, I'm trying to see, I guess I didn't open it up. So if y'all give me a minute, I'll get right to it. But he has... gives reason why Comey fired. I could have swore, here's the real reason why Donald Trump, no, I don't want to hear about the father. We are going to get into the father and Trump's history, just so you guys get a little brush up on what it is that we're talking about here today. Now, prosecutor fired by Trump calls fear. Okay, so Comey, I thought he gave a reason why. I'm trying to see if I could find it. I could have swore somebody told me Trump said something about why he fired her or something like that. I don't know. that's neither here nor there. What we're going to do is we're going to put this up on the screen because I believe this is one of the articles that I am looking for. And this comes to us by way of CBS News. Okay. Justice Department fires Maurene Comey, who helped prosecute Sean Diddy Combs and Jeffrey Epstein. All right. But she also had some stuff to say for herself. And that's the part that I want to get to. We already know that. So yesterday was unexpectedly my last day in office. This is what Comey had to say. Maurene Comey. Yesterday was unexpectedly my last day in office. I was summarily fired via memo from Maine Justice that did not give any reason for my termination, Comey wrote, referring to the Justice Department's headquarters in Washington. Every person lucky enough to work in this office consistently hears 4 words to describe our ethos. Without fear or favor, do the right thing the right way for the right reason, without fear of retribution and without favor to the power. She added, noting that the focus was really on acting without favor for most of her tenure. Now, acting without favor makes me raise an eyebrow because, we talked about it last night. She says, but we have entered a new phase where without fear may be the challenge. If a career prosecutor can be fired without reason, fear may seep into the decisions of those who remain. Don't let that happen. Fear is a tool of a tyrant, wielded to suppress independent thought. Can we get some applause, some clapping hands in the chat? I'm going to read that last part again because I wholeheartedly believe with that. She says, but we have entered a new phase where without fear may be the challenge. If a career prosecutor can be fired without reason, fear may seep into the decisions of those who remain. Don't let that happen. Fear is the tool of a tyrant, wielded to suppress independent thought. And baby, that's how I've been feeling about this whole Diddy trial, if I'm going to be honest with you, because you've got to be fearless to get out here in these here streets and to voice your opinion, because when I tell you the tides will turn on you so quickly, you see what happened to Tisa. Now, I ain't getting in it because I ain't got a dog in that fight, but I'm just saying she took a stance. She stood on it. It was against what came to be, because I can't even say the popular opinion, because baby, when I tell you people was jumping ship and turning sides, there was a dude that was sitting in the courtroom with me the day before and a couple of other people, and we were talking about all of the stuff that we've heard over the years that have been egregious and just mind-blowing over the years when it came down to Sean Diddy Combs. And he was the one who was very vocal in a lot of stuff. And even went as far as to say he did this, I could curse, he did this shit. And they gonna get that man life. This was while deliberations were happening. And then when the verdict came back and it said that he was not guilty on the RICO and the SEX trafficking, but was guilty of 2 counts of the Mann Act. Oh, homeboy was outside celebrating. That ain't what you was just saying in the courtroom the day before. I watched a lot of that happen. Baby, I wasn't jumping shit, okay? And to everybody who felt the way that they felt and took their stance and stood on it, I applaud you, okay? I applaud you. Now, that is what Comey had to say. But what I really want to do is take everybody down a little bit of a memory lane when it comes down to her father, James Comey. Okay. And before we could get into James Comey, we've got to go all the way back to where it started. And it started with Lieutenant General Michael Flynn. Now, I'm not going to get very detailed into all of this. You guys will have to look up some of this information for yourselves because there's a lot of information that I have to give you. And yes, it's a lot of stuff that is Epstein related, honey. Okay. And it all ties together because they're all connected. They're connected through one perverse act after another. All right. But anyway, so if you don't know, Michael Flynn was a former director of defense in the intelligence agency, and he became a top Trump campaign surrogate for his 2016 run. Now, he's known for his aggressive foreign policies and his views, and that's what they called it, aggressive foreign policies. But he's also more famously known for his chant, "Lock her up," referring to Hillary Clinton during that 2016 election times. Yeah. That was him who started that chant, "Lock her up." Now, he was appointed National Security Advisor in January of 2017, but he only held that job for 24 days, y'all. I just, how do you hold a position for 24 days? Anyway, so now we're going to go back to July of 2016, okay? And why are we going to go back there? Because that's when the Russia probe started. And the FBI launched it under the name of Crossfire Hurricane. And this was a counterintelligence investigation into whether Trump's campaign officials were coordinating with Russia to interfere in the 2016 election. And reason being is because George Papadopoulos... I'm sorry. Every time I've heard Papadopoulos over the years, I thought of Snuffleupagus. Forgive me. I'm sorry. But anyway, Papadopoulos, which was one of Trump's aides, he told an Australian diplomat that Russia had damaging emails on Hillary Clinton. And the FBI, that they had growing evidence that was coming in that Russia was actively interfering via hacking emails, putting out fake news, and social media bots. Now, I know you all remember when these annoying ass fact check bots came on to Facebook and Instagram, and Twitter for a little while there, where you post something and it's liable to come back and tell you that it was not real news. That this was the birth of all of this. This is the reason why they came. But the thing is, while people are saying that Trump was under investigation, that's not true, because the probe focused on 4 individuals. That was George Papadopoulos, that was Carter Page, and Paul Manafort, as well as Michael Flynn. Now, in the beginning, the case was a national security investigation, and it wasn't a criminal one. That is, until Michael Flynn lit the fuse. Dun, dun, dun. He ignited it. He's on fire. She's on fire. Now, if you've watched Scarface, then you should know that song. If you haven't watched Scarface, then you don't know that song, and you're going to have to go look it up. But anyway, let's fast forward, same year, 2016 to December, right? Because in that month, during the presidential transition, Flynn spoke multiple times with the Russian ambassador, Sergei. Now, I don't know how to say his name. Kislyak? Is that how you say it? Where's Crash Out Report? How you say that man's name? I know you know how to say it. So like I said, that's my jam. What you know about Scarface? We've only been live for 13 minutes. That's how you say it? Kislyak? Push it to the limit. You know what? We all watch Scarface. Salute to us. All right. So he was having conversations with Sergey, right? And what they were discussing were the sanctions that Obama had put on Russia. And so he was like asking Russia not to escalate in retaliation because of the sanctions. But he also talked about delaying a United Nations vote. Okay. Those calls weren't illegal, but Flynn lied about them to the vice president and to the FBI. Dun, dun, dun. Now, January 24th, 2017, Flynn told FBI agents that he never talked about sanctions. But the FBI already had transcripts from intelligence surveillance of Sergey. So they knew that he did. And he got in there and he lied. So in December of 2017, they do a lot of stuff in January and December, like in the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. Like, is this a quarterly thing for them? Anyway, Flynn ended up pleading guilty to lying to federal agents and he became a cooperating witness in Robert Mueller's investigation. So, boom. Where is Crash Out? Because Crash Out would love all of this. Not I'm from Miami, it's part of our religion. Now, where does James Comey come in? This is where the Comeys kick in the door, waving the door. Now, you have to remember, I told y'all last night, James Comey was a United States attorney, right? He was an AUSA. And he's the one who originally was like blowing the whistle, saying that Hillary Clinton had these emails. And, you know, he led the charge in doing that investigation, and then he dropped it. And then right before elections, 11 days before the elections, he relaunched it. And Trump liked that he did that, said that he had guts. Remember, I told y'all he said that took guts. And so he took him from being an AUSA to being, I don't know if it was an AUSA. I might be getting a little kerfuffled around myself. It's a lot of information I've taken in. But anyway, he made him a director of the FBI. Trump did. Okay. And, you know, after Flynn, that came after Flynn resigned, and he resigned on February 13th of 2017. And then Trump met privately with with FBI director. At this time, he was already the FBI director. So, he met with James Comey in the Oval Office the next day. And according to Comey's memo and sworn testimony, he said that Trump said to him, "I hope you can see your way clear to letting Flynn go." That's what he asked him. Now, Comey was documenting the conversations that he was having with Trump, and he told senior FBI officials. And in March of 2017, Comey then went and testified to Congress, saying that the FBI was investigating links between Trump's campaign officials and the Russian government, and that Trump himself was not under investigation at the time. So you see how in the beginning, this was about Trump's the people who were doing Trump's campaign officials. And it was about links between the campaign officials and the Russian government. So this wasn't about Trump at the time, but Trump didn't like the fact that he went over there into Congress and he was testifying and telling. And so on May of 2017, Trump fired Comey. Okay. Later admitting in a TV interview that he did so because of this Russia thing. Now, remember, we seen Trump canoodling and hobnobbing with Putin. So that kind of makes it, Anyway, the firing of Comey then triggered a political legal firestorm. And within days, Robert Mueller was appointed special counsel, and Mueller would go on to secure guilty pleas and indictments from 34 people, and concluded Russia interfered, but found no criminal conspiracy with Trump. Okay? Again, Robert Mueller concluded that Russia interfered in the campaign, but no criminal conspiracy with Trump was found. Now, he detailed 10 instances where Trump may have obstructed justice, including the Flynn firing pressure. So that's where Trump came into play at, because he was obstructing justice. So here you guys are getting the facts, the truth, and this is where it comes from. So I have to give you the history of James Comey, because that's where all of this comes into play. Now, Flynn, although he had initially cooperated, in 2019, he hired new lawyers and claimed that he was entrapped by the FBI into giving a guilty plea and to admitting that he lied to the FBI, which is bullshit. I'm just saying. So, you know, that's what he said. But in May of 2020, the DOJ under the Attorney General Bill Barr moved to dismiss the case, arguing that the FBI had no legitimate reason to interview Flynn. Now, remember, Flynn is Trump's guy. And guess what? They said that his statements weren't material to a crime, and Judge Emmett Sullivan refused to immediately drop the case. But before any final ruling could come in, guess what? Trump granted Flynn a full pardon, and that pardon went through on November 25th of 2020. So let me just say this for all of the people out there, the Trump's gonna pardon Diddy. Before a sentence could even be, a ruling could even go down, Trump pardoned Flynn. And therefore, there was no further court proceedings that happened. He was a free man with the pardon. So if he was going to pardon Diddy, he didn't have to wait. He could have just did. He's already been sentenced. He could just do. But anyway, Flynn went on to become a right-wing hero, but the case became a symbol of whether justice had been politicized. And in this case, I say this is where justice and politics were on full-on front display. Okay. Now, James Comey testified multiple times before Congress in 2017 and 2018. And he said that Flynn was under investigation, that Trump was not personally a target in early 2017. He documented Trump's request to let Flynn go. And he confirmed the FBI used the steel dozer as part of its FSA application to surveil Carter Page, though he admitted later that he did not ensure that the dozer's full credibility. Okay, his actions were later criticized by the DOJ Inspector General for violating federal FBI procedures, but not found to be a criminal. He was not deemed a criminal. And in July of 2025, which is this month, that's when we find out that James Comey is under active criminal investigation by the DOJ. Okay. Now, this new probe into James Comey, it centers on potential false statements to Congress and misleading information about the FBI's use of intelligence during the Russia probe, and questions about the steel dozer's credibility and the FISA abuse. So that's what they're trying to say. But it's crazy how all this time went by. And now that Trump is back in office, this is now coming back up. I say this is Trump's revenge. Okay. And, like this came after years of criticism over how the Russian investigation was handled. And Comey had already been reprimanded by the DOJ Inspector General for mishandling classified memos, leaking official documents, authorizing inaccurate FISA filings. But the DOJ previously declined prosecution until now. And this marks the first confirmed criminal investigation into Comey as of this month. So all this time has gone by. And now, anyway, as we also know, his daughter, Maurene Comey, was fired abruptly, and she was a senior federal prosecutor for the Southern District of New York. All right. And still to right now, as far as I've seen, there hasn't been any official explanation given, but the political and personal implications were immediate. And we all see that. Like Maurene Comey was one of the most recognizable and quietly powerful figures inside the SDNY. She built her reputation prosecuting some of the country's most sensitive and high-profile cases, and that would be Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and federal charges against R. Kelly. She was known for avoiding media attention, which is what she did, because you did not really see anybody catching her going in and out. You might have got a snapshot of her here or there, but Maurene kind of kept a low profile at that courthouse, and I can vouch for that. But they say that she was respected as a no-nonsense, by-the-book prosecutor, and I can honestly see her being that because her father seemed to be a no-nonsense, by-the-book type of person as well, and that's why he wouldn't bend when it came down to letting the Flynn thing go for Trump. But her sudden termination sent shockwaves through the legal community, as I believe it should, because there's been no scandal. There's been nothing that has been linked to her that would preempt her being or prompt her being terminated, except for personal vendetta. Okay. But what makes her firing like even more controversial is its proximity to the announcement that her father, James Comey, was under criminal investigation by the DOJ. Like, that is highly suspect. What's also highly suspect for me is the fact that it comes when all of this talk of Ghislaine Maxwell looking for an appeal. It just, all of this is so suspicious to me. But, you know, another quote that Maurene Comey has said was, "My record stands on its own. I've served the department with integrity. If I'm being targeted because of my name, I won't be the last." Now, she did refuse to elaborate further, but her words did add fuel to speculation that her firing was retribution for a preemptive purge tied to her father's case. You see what I'm saying? Like, and this is according to legacy media, Associated Press and all of that stuff, legacy media. All right. Now, some legal analysis believe that Maurene may have had access to internal DOJ communications that could conflict with how the Trump aligned DOJ is now framing the Russia investigation. So her removal may serve as like several purposes for them, right? To prevent leaks or whistleblowing, to cut off institutional loyalty to the Comey legacy, to send a chilling message to other DOJ insiders. Like, I don't know, but whatever the internet says, I don't know. Either way, it's clear this isn't just a routine personal change. It's a power move. And in the aftermath of Maurene's firing, a familiar name is being floated as potential replacement. And that person's name is Jay Clayton. Now, Jay Clayton is the former SEC chairman under Trump. Back in like April of 2025 this year, Trump allies hinted towards Rutgers that that Clayton would be a likely choice to serve as interim U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. And Clayton has no prior prosecutorial experience. But he has one thing. He is a loyal Trump appointee with deep ties to Wall Street and corporate defense law. So if installed, his appointment would be like marked as a major ideological shift in the Southern District's leadership, and it could potentially stall or reshape ongoing investigations into Trump's linked figures. Now, last night I said something to you about Diddy. If Diddy got a new prosecutor, how this could go. But as we're learning with this Jay Clayton person, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what's going on with Diddy. The thing is, Trump needs him there. Trump needs him there to be on his side, right? Now, this has been considered to be a single border move to consolidate control of federal prosecutors under Trump-aligned operatives. And this also has raised a lot of questions. Let's be honest, all right? Some of these questions are, is Jay Clayton being positioned to shield Trump allies and refocus SDNY priorities? And was Maurene Comey removed to clear the path? I don't know. These were strategic chess moves in an ongoing legal and political war. So, but we can try to put it all together because let's reel it in. This has been a lot of information. You've got Michael Flynn's phone call to Russia, which triggered the FBI probe. He lies, and his lies led to a felony plea and a later controversial pardon. The case blew up into a full-blown Russia investigation, ending with Robert Mueller's report. It cost James Comey his job, fueled obstruction of justice concerns, and exposed internal FBI misconduct. And now in 2025, the entire saga has boomeranged back with Comey himself under investigation and his daughter fired by the DOJ. So for me, with this, the question now is whether Flynn lied. He admitted it. And the question is, did the FBI cross the line trying to catch him? And if they did, who should be held accountable, you guys? Who should be held accountable? That's why they want Zohan Mamdani. I think she was fired because Diddy's getting a light sentence. Oh my God. What? I just read all of this political stuff. Oh, Beyonce's lace front. We supposed to go live. I don't know how that works, Janice. Like, what? I don't know. I just feel like this is bigger than Diddy. Like, I just do. No, not trying to be funny, but I really feel like this is bigger than Diddy. Like, Diddy just happens to be somebody caught in the crosshairs of all of this who lucked up. If we're going to be honest, he lucked up. But you know who isn't so lucky? Epstein. Because you guys, Henny Glasses in the chat, if y'all want to hear a story about an offshore bank, not a bank account, but a whole bank that is still operating even after its owner's demise. Dun, dun, dun. Now, Crash Out, you probably already know about this, don't you? Look at the Henny Glasses. She said, I'm throwing bottles in here. I ain't throwing glasses. I'm going to throw bottles. So, as Henny Legal and I have been digging, I have to say, there's a lot of information out here that's really, like, when I say reading these docs has been a lot. Oh, Swagger, you just want to jump ahead of everything. I don't know if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he's alive or not. But what I did find out and what I do have in my possession is information that shows. Now, I said I wasn't going to do this because I wanted to give it its own video, but we're going to get into this right now, and I'm just going to chop this video down. Y'all, let me get my watermark up here for y'all. Let me get my watermark. Let me get my screen how I need my screen to be, because baby, it's deeper down the rabbit hole than what you thought, and we finna get all up in it. All right. So as we've been doing our Epstein digs to catch up on some things, this right here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is from the government of the Virgin Islands of the United States, Office of the Lieutenant Governors. And this is a Virgin Island banking board. What this is for a bank. Jeffrey Epstein owned a whole bank over there in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The bank international banking entity. Jeffrey Epstein, president. Let me come back over here and look at y'all. Let me see what y'all saying. Well, not everybody knew that, Bob. Now, let me just say this. Money has been moving through this bank even after his demise. Even after his demise. Now, I'm doing this for those who didn't know. Okay, because there's a lot of people that don't know any of this. Now, this person is moving as an agent for him, but this was Epstein's bank, and the name of this bank was called Southern Country International. Okay. And since Bob is in here, I'm do a lot of research on it. Okay, so Bob, what came next? Because I don't even want to keep going. Bob made me not want to do no more. You just killed my thunder. I'm messing with you, Bob. Isn't this the same thing? It is. Okay. Well, let me just tell y'all this. Not only did this man own a bank, he said, damn, what Bob do? Bob jumped ahead. There's other banks. There's other bank accounts, you guys. Now, this information has been out for a while, so I can't even say anything about that. But one of the things that I read earlier today, because again, now Bob knows this because Bob is doing his due diligence, and I salute you, Bob, for doing your due diligence, which means that you aren't just relying on people. You aren't just ruined. You aren't ruined. Like, you aren't just listening to other people. You actually are digging or whatever. But I try to come over here and do what I do for my peoples because they rely on me. So at least y'all know I'm not lying because Bob knows about it. Okay. Bob knows about it. Oh my God. I hate the Wall Street Journal, but I love them at the same time because they're just like everything that you get from them, you got to pay for it. And I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for that. Anyway, what about the Chicago Tribune? Is that where I got it? I might have got it from there. I think I got it from there. Okay. Now, this was written back in 2020. This was February of 2020. They were discussing the fact that there was movement going on, stuff happening. Okay. And Epstein's mystery bank came alive after his deletion, receiving millions of dollars for his estate. Okay. This is where we're going. Oh, I don't have it on the screen. Hold on a second. I want to make sure that I close this out so that y'all can hear it for yourselves because okay, so share this. Let's see if the video is going to play. I don't think the video is going to play, you guys. Let's see. If it doesn't, no, I don't think it's going to play. It's fine because I do know how to read. All right, so let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Oh my God. What are we doing? Okay. Now, this says, get off my screen. No. Oh, they weren't doing this to me before. That's okay. Oh, I wasn't trying to get there. I wasn't trying to go there, but since we're here, why does it keep doing this to me? This is from today. Now, I was trying to baby step y'all and baby walk y'all up to this, but I want this story. All right. So remember, this is from 2020. It's not going to let me do it. All right. So in years after Jeffrey Epstein's death, basically there was deposited info. There's been funds that have been sent to his bank account. Into his bank. His bank has been funneling money through it and sending wires off, you guys. I just had something earlier. Dang it. I hate when I do this, when I lose something. Hold on, you guys. Anyway, there's been money moved through his banking accounts throughout the years, okay? And when it comes down to what happened today, I can't give y'all all of that, so I'll just have to do a damn I'll have to do a video on it because I don't like having y'all waiting and I hate when it's quiet. So today, outside of money being moved and things being shuffled about, even in this man's demise, today, U.S. Senator Ron Wade is pushing back hard after Donald Trump dismissed renewed interest in Jeffrey Epstein's crimes as a hoax and a scam. The Oregon Democrat revealed Thursday that a detailed Treasury Department file shows that Epstein moved nearly $1.1 billion through just one of his bank accounts, including thousands of wire transfers, possibly tied to SCX trafficking. Speaking as the top Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, Wyden said the still undisclosed Epstein Treasury file contains actionable information that should be fully investigated. Okay. Now, he said investigators found links between Epstein and sanctioned Russian bank accounts. What is it with Russia? Bob, can you tell me? And I'm not being funny, I'm being for real. Bob, Crash Out, somebody explain to me what it is about Russia. Anyway, he wired it to sanction Russian banks, and he has payments tied to women and girls from countries like Russia, Belarus, I don't know how to say that, Turkey, and Turkmenistan. I think I said those correctly. If I didn't, then y'all see it on the screen and y'all know what I'm talking about. If y'all don't see it on the screen, I'll move it right there. Y'all can see it now. And he said that these are not conspiracy theories. These are real leads pointing to an international SCX trafficking operation. Dun, dun, dun! Which, honestly, it's not really a dun, dun, dun because we already knew that. This is big time. Wyden accused the Trump administration, including Attorney General Pam Bondi, of blocking access to the full file despite previously campaigning on transparency. He said repeated requests to review the material were denied. He goes on and says, I don't know why Trump wants this to go away, but we're not letting it. Wyden said, no one gets to sweep this under the rug. That's right. Nobody puts baby in the corner. He's now calling for the Treasury Department to release the full Epstein file to the Senate so lawmakers can follow the money themselves. That's what he said. You know what they say. When you start to follow the money, things start to get a little dark. So I don't know if he really wants to follow the money or not, but it sounds like he wants to follow the money to me. To me, that's what it sounds like. Now, I also have in my possession a letter. A letter that was written to old Pam Bondi. Yes. And what did this letter say? Where my glasses? Over there. I'm going to have to use my good glasses. I like my other glasses, though. Let's put on our glasses because we about to do some reading of a little fine print, okay? Can y'all see that? Did I put it on the right one? I put it on the right one, and now y'all can see it. All right. Dear Attorney Bondi, we're writing regarding the Department of Justice and its handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case and records. Last week, the Senate Appropriations Committee, by a unanimous bipartisan vote, directed you and the department to preserve and retain all of the Epstein files and to submit a report on the records of the records to the subcommittee on commerce, justice, science, and related agencies. This unanimous vote reflected the urgent need to provide transparency and accountability with respect to the Epstein files. There is no reason to wait until the bill with our amendment makes its way through Congress. We call upon you to follow the bipartisan directive of the Appropriations Committee and release the Epstein files without delay. They are still pounding. They want these files, and so do we. The case of Jeffrey Epstein is a deeply disturbing one, and we feel that way too, with horrifying sexual abuse of over 1,000 young women and girls. I told y'all it was over 1,000. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyway, from the lenient plea deal he received in Florida in 2008 to the end of his case with his unaliving in prison in 2019, survivors of his abuse have been denied the full accounting of his crimes and justice they deserve. We must ensure that the American people can have confidence in a justice system that operates without secrecy or undue influence, especially in the handling of such a prominent case involving the sexual exploitation and trafficking of so many victims. Delaying transparency in this case is unnecessary to providing accountability and answers to the American people. Here is the provision passed unanimously by the Appropriations Committee. Amendment by Senator Van Hollen and Senator Durbin, Jeffrey Epstein records retention. On page 86 of the bill, line 4, insert after, in detail, the justification of the waiver. C, the Attorney General shall retain, preserve, and compile any records or evidence related to any investigation, prosecution, services provided to victims, or incarceration of Jeffrey Epstein, provided that no later than 60 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall submit to the Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies of the Committee on Appropriations of the Senate a record that includes information on the history of the Jeffrey Epstein case, including the 2008 non-prosecution agreement, victims, the history of the victims and testimony, including notifications under Section 3771 of Title 18 United States Code, commonly known as the Crime Victims' Rights Act, investigation of co-conspirators, internal reviews, and misconduct filings by the Department of Justice, and current status of investigations into the financial and trafficking network of Jeffrey Epstein, an intelligence assessment of Jeffrey Epstein's financial ties, clients, and connections, if any, to the United States government for foreign governments, and oversight failures at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, New York. Now, pause for a second, because you heard what this said, that they want Jeffrey Epstein's financial ties, clients, and connections. How y'all gonna find out who the clients are if there's no client list? I'm just saying. Anyway, oh, and y'all know I don't like this nasty yellow. We don't do nasty yellow. We do blue over here, or purple. Anyway, provided further that as necessary to protect privacy, the Attorney General may redact the names of personally identifiable information of victims from the report submitted to Congress. So they're saying that you can redact the victim's information, but you can't redact nobody who was doing anything. Again, we ask that rather than wait for the final passage of this provision, you provide the information and answer 30 days from today, August 16th, 2025. We appreciate your attention in this vital matter of public interest. Signed, Richard J. Durbin, United States Senator, Ranking Member, and Chris Van Hollen, Ranking Member of the Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies. Now, I'm leaning towards alive. His money was too long. This is some, but yet, shut up, Penny. I'm gonna shut up. This right here is diabolical. This is diabolical. Why do they have to put so much pressure on them to release it? And they did a unanimous vote, which means that unanimously they're saying release this information to us now. I think I'm gonna put my tinfoil kufi on. I think, and this is just a thought that I had earlier, and no, I don't want to go there yet, but I'm with Crash Out. There's a 50-50 chance that that man is still alive and could be possibly living on his other island, Big St. James. Or he's still living on Little St. James because, to my understanding, it's still guarded and protected. Last I looked, but I don't know if that's still accurate information as of right now. But it's a whole lot of going on. What I do also want to draw y'all attention to, this is just a lot of information that I need to get out to you guys. And it all ties in with this part right here, because we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein and we're talking about his banking information, right? So aside from him owning a bank, I want y'all to know this. He had said that his bank was only going to deal with offshore accounts. It wasn't going to deal with it wasn't going to deal with local banks. Now, this came 30 minutes ago from The Hill. That's not what I'm looking for. Dang, I can't get where I was at yesterday when I was reading it, and I didn't bother to send the link or share the link with myself, because that's what I'm looking for, because I was on my phone when I came across it. But that's what he said. He said that his bank was going to only deal with offshore accounts. It wasn't going to deal with onshore people. And there's been a lot going on with that bank account, but I can't remember where I got it from, so I'm going to have to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Wait a minute. I might not have to let it go. I got to let it go. All right, I'm gonna let it go. And I'm going to divert your eyes to here. This is an actual jury demand in the Superior Court of the Virgin Islands, Division of St. Thomas and St. John. And it is the government of the United States, Virgin Islands versus Darren Indyke, executor of Jeffrey Epstein's estate, okay, and administrator, Richard Kahn as an individual capacity and in his capacity of executor for Epstein's estate. They are also going after Jeffrey Epstein's shell companies because, yes, he had shell companies, trust, the 953 Trust, Plan D LLC, Great St. Jim LLC, Nauticalus Inc., Hyperion Air LLC, Polar Inc., Southern Trust Company, Cypress Inc., Maple Inc., Laurel Inc., and John and Jane Doe's. And I know it's like, why would they want to do this now? Well, we're going to turn to a little video. We're going to turn to a video. Where is it? Where is it? I know y'all are probably like, Henny, you're really like, what are you doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I had it all figured out, but I don't. It's been a minute. Bear with me. No. Hold on. I know where it is. Boom. That was okay. And I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. All right, y'all ready?
We definitely received substantial evidence that he was involved in trafficking young women and children to the Virgin Islands for a very long period of time through our airport, through his private jet. And then he would, by helicopter or sometimes boat, would then transport them over to Little St. James. And that's where he has his complex where he lives, which is his official residence as well. And that these young girls and women were subject to sexual assault, sexual exploitation, through coercion, false imprisonment, where the passports at some points were taken away. The actions were just reprehensible. And it was quite a number of women. And we found through our investigation that at least up to 2018 that continued.
So what your investigation is showing is the broad scope of Jeffrey Epstein's nefarious activities, that it just kept going.
Based on the evidence that we found thus far. Let me make something very clear. Jeffrey Epstein was very good at protecting himself and being secret. You know, the secrecy he was very good at that. And because of his wealth, his power, he was able to do that and secure that. So when you think about it, he owns a private island. That's an island over a mile away from St. Thomas, the main island. And it's out there and it's isolated. He purchases that, right? Then he owns the jet that flew in to the airport. It's under a name of one of the front companies that actually has been named in our complaint, but it's him. He's the member of that LLC. And he owns the helicopter and the boats that took or transported him and the women and children over to the island.
Now, that goes back to the complaint that I just showed you, which is this right here. Okay. Now, there's a lot that's going on in here, but I want to get to the meat and potatoes as we usually do. So if you're somebody that does not like court doc reads, you may want to come back. I'll probably do a video just summarizing all of this stuff anyway, because there are people that want to hear the information, but they don't have attention spans or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into these factual allegations. And these are the allegations of the conduct of the Epstein enterprise. Now, the Virgin Island, I don't know if they do RICO or not, but this sounded like they were putting a RICO case together for him. putting a RICO case together for him based off of what was said and the fact that they're calling it an Epstein enterprise. So are y'all ready? So it says that Epstein and his associates during the including defendants identified and recruited victims, including teacup humans, and transported them to the Virgin Islands where they were abused. Now we know all of that, right? How he held them captive and all of that. Now it says Epstein created a network of companies and individuals who participated in and conspired with him in a pattern of criminal activity to SCX traffic, forced labor, SCXually assault, teacup human abuse, and SCXual servitude of these teacup humans and young women. Epstein and his associates trafficked teacup humans to the Virgin Islands and held them captive. And SC actually abused them, causing them grave physical, mental, and emotional harm. Okay. To accomplish his legal ends, Epstein formed an association, in fact, with multiple defendants and others, both companies and individuals who were willing to participate in, facilitate, and conceal Epstein's criminal activity in exchange for Epstein's bestowal of financial and other benefits, including SCXual services and forced labor from victims. This illicit association of Epstein defendants and his associates constitute what is referred to herein as the Epstein enterprise. Okay. Epstein, with his wealth and power to create the Epstein enterprise, which engaged in a pattern of criminal activity in the Virgin Islands by repeatedly procuring and subjecting teacup humans and young women to unlawful SCX conduct, SCX trafficking, and forced labor. Now, pause. Does this sound like the building and the making of a RICO to you? Because that's what it sounds like to me. Now, the enterprise engaged in a pattern of criminal activity in the Virgin Islands and elsewhere with the criminal purpose and goal of placing a steady supply of vulnerable teacup humans and young women into SCXual servitude in service of Epstein's desire and those of his associates. The Epstein enterprise maintained and made available young women and underage teacup humans for the purpose of engaging them in forced labor and yada, yada, yada. Now, listen to this. That he used coercion and deception to procure, abuse, and harbor its victims. Flight logs and other sources established. Flight logs. Remember, his plane went to the Virgin Islands airport. Plus, his plane flew into his island. Okay. And other sources established between 2001 and 2019 that Epstein enterprise transported teacup humans and young women to the Virgin Islands, who were then taken via helicopter or private vessel to Little St. James, where they were deceptively subjected to SCXual servitude, forced to engage in SCXual acts, and coerced into commercial SCXual activity and forced labor. In furtherance of his criminal activities, the Epstein enterprise used aircrafts to transport the young women and teacup humans to the Virgin Islands. We know what they was there for, to be abused and exploited. Epstein enterprise facilitated and participated in SCXual M-wording and exploitation of numerous girls between the ages of 12 and 17. On pretext of providing modeling opportunities, careers, and contracts, associates of the Epstein enterprise funded by Epstein enterprise lured and recruited teacup humans to travel to locations including the Virgin Islands, where upon information and belief based on a pattern and practice of the Epstein enterprise, they were abused and exploited. Okay. Now, I want to get over here to this part. I want to read this part to you guys. As recent as 2018, air traffic controllers and other airport personnel reported seeing Epstein leave his plane with teacup humans, some of whom appeared to be between the ages of 11 and 15. So you are telling me that you have air traffic control people that have seen this? Mm-hmm. By the way, he's registered as a SEX offender in Florida and over there in the Virgin Islands. How did he get a bank, Henny? Because he lied on the bank application, or else he wouldn't have been able to get one. Anyway, when sued in civil court for committing SEX trafficking and SEX crimes, Epstein never denied engaging in sexual acts with teacup humans and procuring teacup humans for prostitution, but instead consistently invoked his Fifth Amendment privilege against himself, against self-incrimination. Okay. Upon information, now let me highlight this one too, because y'all gonna want to remember this. Upon information and belief, the Epstein enterprise kept a computerized list. You all right, Miko? That scared the crap out of me. He coughed. There's some scary shit. All right. So upon information and belief, Epstein Enterprise kept a computerized list of underage girls who were in or proximate to the Virgin Islands and able to be transported to Epstein's residence at Little St. James in the Virgin Islands. I ain't know what it was. All I know is it was a noise coming from under the bed. But anyway, so now we have in these court docs flight logs, and we have a computerized list of the people that were being trafficked. Anyway, Epstein engaged in a pattern of criminal conduct by trafficking teacup humans and placing them in sexual servitude. Okay. But there's other things that he did. Epstein Enterprise knowingly recruited, transported, transferred, harbored, received, procured, obtained, isolated, maintained, and enticed young women and girls to engage in forced labor, such as providing massages. And ultimately, sexual servitude at his Little St. James residence. Now, a 15-year-old victim, listen to this, you guys. A 15-year-old victim was forced into sexual acts with Epstein and others, then attempted to escape by swimming off the Little St. James Island. Epstein and others organized a search party that located her and kept her captive by, among other things, confiscating her passport. Another victim who was first engaged in provide massages to Epstein was then forced to perform sexual acts at Little St. James in the Virgin Islands. When she attempted to escape the private island, Epstein and a search party found her, returned her to his house, and suggested physical restraints or harm if she failed to cooperate. Another victim was flown by Epstein and his associates to New York or Palm Beach and then the Virgin Islands dozens of times from 2004 when she was age 20 to 2017. She was repeatedly abused by Epstein, who was pressed to have sex with Epstein's business colleagues. During the latter part of this period, she was forced into an arranged marriage to another victim that was facilitated by defendant co-executor in Dyke. Remember, he's mentioned to prevent the other victims from being deported. Did y'all catch that? I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it one more again. I'm gonna read this one more again because I think that may have went over the heads. Another victim was flown by Epstein and his associates to New York or Palm Beach and then to the Virgin Islands dozens of times from 2004, when she was age 20, to 2017. She was repeatedly abused by Epstein and also was pressed to have sex with Epstein's business colleagues. During the latter part of this period, she was forced into an arranged marriage to another victim that was facilitated by defendant's co-director in Dyke to prevent the other victim from being deported. Was that another female, or was that a male? I'm waiting for y'all to answer. Nobody has an answer. The chat just stopped. In Dyke and a New York immigration lawyer retained by Epstein prepared the victim for communications with U.S. immigration officials almost immediately after the wedding. Defendant and co-executor Khan provided a letter of reference for the immigration proceedings. When the victim inquired about ending the marriage and leaving Epstein's circle, Dyke repeatedly tried to talk her out of a divorce and threatened she would lose Epstein's and his associates' protections. The Epstein enterprise forced at least three separate arranged marriages, in each case requiring American female victims to marry foreign victims to avoid their deportation. The victims were coerced into participating in these arranged marriages and understood that there would be consequences, including serious, reputable, and bodily harm if they refused to enter to the marriage or attempted to end it. In each instance, Dyke and Khan knowingly facilitated the fraudulent and coerced marriages, performing and securing the legal and accounting work available and enabling a fraud that would further bind Epstein's victims to him and enable Epstein to continue to control and abuse these victims. They also deceptively lured underage girls and women into the trafficking ring with money and promises of employment, career opportunities, and school assistance. The Epstein enterprise preyed on their financial and other vulnerabilities and promised victims money, shelter, gifts, employment, tuition, and other items of value. For example, participants in the Epstein enterprise targeted young and underage females under the pretext that they would be paid substantially merely to provide massages for him and others. However, once drawn in, victims were then pressured and coerced into engaging in sexual acts. Now, this made my head hurt, okay? Once the girls were recruited, participants in the Epstein enterprise enforced their sexual servitude of victims by coercion, including but not limiting to confiscating passports, controlling and extinguishing external communications, which would be however they were communicating, right? Phones, all of that. And threatening violence. They also made fraudulent statements to family members of victims, claiming victims were being well cared for and supported financially in college and other educational opportunities. One of the victims, who was flown by Epstein and his associates to the Virgin Islands dozens of times up until late as 2017, described how Epstein exercised strict control over her and other victims' activities. The girls had to give notice if they left the main residence and were kept to a rigid set of roles and rules. Epstein brought victims to business meetings where they were often required to massage his feet or run errands. Victims had to use Epstein's approved doctors to sign consent forms for access to their medical records. Epstein also required them to give him their email passwords. Each of these was a means of demonstrating and reinforcing his control over the women and the teacup humans. Okay. The victims observed a succession of girls and young women who were transported to Little St. James, for we all know the reasons. Okay. This right here was very disturbing to me as well, because it says that victims too observed a large number of young women and girls around Epstein at Little St. James. Many of them did not speak English, which was Epstein's preference since they spoke less. So he didn't even want people who really spoke English because they spoke less. Isn't that how Dump met Melania? I believe so. Wait, what? Damn, academics' moms might be caught up in that. Remember, he exposed his mom on live? No, I don't remember that, Swagger. Now, this thing goes on, and it includes this Indike and Khan person, but basically, this is the complaint that they had against him in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Reading that gave me a headache when I first read it. It's giving me a headache now, reading it at this immediate moment. This going down this rabbit hole has been a lot, because this case is so much bigger than what we realize. Because did you hear them say that they contacted somebody at immigration who basically was cool with him? He had ties into high places. So what are we talking about here? And Comey, both Comeys. Oh no, Trump was not about to have either one of them Comeys around, because he said them Comeys won't be poking and combing around. He'll be sitting there like them dogs on them guys, them villains on Scooby-Doo. If it wasn't for you meddling kids. Oh, I'm not on that page. Okay, I don't know, but I got word just now that says the Wall Street Journal is working on a big news story detailing Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and sources say Trump is desperately trying to block the publication. He allegedly called the Wall Street Journal's editor-in-chief in an attempt to dead this 86 the story. I don't know. I guess we're going to see. Whoever wrote that They were smart because they made sure that if it don't come out, then they could say, well, we told you it didn't come out. I don't know. Where you get that from, child? You know, at 420 Palm, I don't know who to trust. Okay. But what I can tell you is every time we talk about Maurene Comey and James Comey, we have to go down the Epstein rabbit hole because there's more than meets the eye with this. And it's so much darker than what we think and what we know. And let me just say this. If Maurene Comey has been all up in these Epstein files, which we know she has because the prosecution of Ghislaine, I understand why she was the way that she was during this trial with Diddy. I understand why she is hell-bent on taking it down, taking them down. I don't care how minor. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Take everybody down. After what she read, and then, there's still information that we don't know anything about because they went through his home, so we know he got stuff. But I want to bring up something. When they raided Epstein, they raided Epstein's Little St. James and his Palm Beach home. They did not raid his New Mexico mansion, though. And that sounds very familiar to me because if y'all remember, they raided Diddy's LA and Miami homes, but they never raided the Hamptons or that New York apartment if he still owns that New York apartment. But they never went to the New York home. Why? They picking where they're gonna raid at. I find that interesting. What the hell is happening here? Okay. I find that very interesting. I find it very interesting that they're fighting so hard to keep this thing so quiet and under wraps. Well, here's the thing that I don't think Donald Dump anticipated. I don't think that he anticipated that we, the people, weren't going to let it go. He thought he could come out here and he could tell us whatever it is that he wanted to tell us. Oh, yeah, because I could take this off and I could just be like, okay, yes, you're here with that girl, Henny, and you are. All right. So back to you, Bob. I might take this the next time I go, but it kills your battery because it uses the battery to light up. And I don't know if I could turn the lights off. I never really bothered to look. Anyway, yeah, 2 of the homes, but not all of them. I don't know who Bob is. God just said, wait a minute, who the hell is Bob? No, girl, no. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, you guys. He dog walked that MAGA cult like now. They turned on him. Well, I think that's kind of what he wanted. Like he said, he don't want people that are easily influenced or whatever. And it's not even easily influenced. My guy, this is nasty work. This is nasty work. The man passed away in 2019, and here we are in 2005, and we still don't have any answers. Well, they released the MLK file. I have the MLK files, but I don't even know if that's real. Bob the Builder, built the bank in the Virgin Islands, and that's what he told me in the chat. I'm not doing this with you guys. Listen, y'all see this number right here? This is really upsetting to me. And I'm just going to tell y'all this right now, that if this number don't start increasing, I'm going to leave. I'm so serious. It has nothing to do with y'all and it has everything to do with YouTube. If that number doesn't start changing, I'm leaving. I'm going back to a 9-to-5 job and I'm out of here. Because this is nasty work. They're playing with my money. First, they steal from me. Okay. And now this. No. Oh, I'm seeing how many people are in the chat. Can y'all see how many people are watching? Oh, y'all can't see it on the screen. I see it on the screen. If this don't start picking up, I hate to say it, but I will leave. I might go to my other page and just go back to my original sector and just stay there. And like this page will be what it is. Because Goddess, YouTube is really playing with me. It's because you're speaking truths and you have receipts. I know, but it's discouraging. Oh God. She said, don't leave. We love it here. I'm being honest. That's what's making it so hard for me to be so driven to do this. 98 are watching. Oh, that's what's up. It tells me only 49 are watching. Henny, keep going. Yes, swag it is loving us in commercial. But I close out and come back in. Y'all are getting commercials. I don't even have the commercials on. Like, I don't have the monetization on. You did bring the receipts and the truth. Yeah, see, I don't know. It's just, this is crazy work to me. You know, and all of the, here's the thing, all the work that goes into researching and reading, it YouTube really slaps me in my face. They say they want original content. I'm bringing them that. So I'm going to stick it out for a bit and see what happens. But if that doesn't change, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll start all over. Maybe I'll just let this page sit and start all over and just, I don't know. But I have to come back at 10 o'clock. Stay doing this, Henny. We're here and we'll always switch. I appreciate, you know what? Okay. I'm going to tough it out for a little bit and see what happens. But if I decide to start all over again, I will bring y'all over there. Girl, the commercials go blank and I have to come back in. Are you serious? See, they playing. Why are y'all getting so many commercials? Like they see, and then people don't want to watch all of them damn commercials. You can't give up. Eventually the numbers will go up, Penny. You have to realize people have to want the truth. You're close. The closer you dig, the more YouTube mess with you because you're hitting a nerve. I am hitting a nerve, ain't I? I'm not getting commercials at all. I usually get commercials. See, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to come back again at 10 o'clock, which is in a little while. And at 10 o'clock, we're going to get into the IgG reporting, which is investigative genetic genealogy, which is what they used in the Idaho 4 case. And they've used it in other cases as well. And one of these cases is going to blow your mind. That started yesterday with the blank commercials. Really? Is it everywhere or just over here? Is it Rhapsode Stories? Did I say that right? I don't get commercials because I have Prime. I have Prime, so I don't get commercials either. There's more coming to you. I believe you. And then also I kind of like switched the tone of everything. Like I'm not doing a lot of gossip. That would be our loss. Oh, I don't want y'all to feel like y'all lost. Oh, it's happening over in her live too. Okay. Well, let me just say this. Maybe it's the approach. Like, I'm too serious and like people want to be entertained. So I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. But when we come back at 10 o'clock, I'm going to give y'all the IGG story that I told y'all I was gonna bring y'all and show y'all how they caught Brian Kohlberger and a couple of other people. And one of these stories is really gonna blow your mind because it blew my mind when I read it. But I can't wait to share that information with you. So that is going to be an informative live for all of us and a cautionary tale. So don't go nowhere. YouTube is drunk. The numbers are all over the place. I've got several commercials. Don't go nowhere. Okay. All right. So we'll keep pushing. We'll keep trucking. But I will see you guys. I love how you give it to me, baby. And my James. Henny, you can release me out of jail, please, on my other page. Mia's. I don't know what your other name is. What is your name? Because I could try to do that now. Community. That's my moderators. How did you end up getting blocked? It told you 50, 49, 48, 90, 53. The crash out report. The same name? Let me see. Girl, there's so many people in here. Some of these people, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember you. You never get out of the clink. You could stay right on over there in the clink. I'm looking. I'm trying to see. So far, I don't see you crash out. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing crash out report anywhere just yet. Hold on, I'm looking. When did you get blocked? What did you say? What did you do? Sheesh. There's a lot of people on the other side, baby. Girl, yeah, I'm not seeing you. I'm seeing a lot of names. Somebody tried to be Uda on go. Oh no, I have to tell him that. No, you're not in there. I don't see you. I don't see no crash out report page in here. I don't see you. I can see you. Does everybody see? Oh, she was timed out for a half hour. You was timed out. She said, I'm back. Y'all can't tell me nothing. She wasn't hidden, just timed out. Oh, see, you got put in the corner. You did something and got put in the corner, girl. Listen, anybody can get put in the corner. A moderator could put another moderator in the corner if they ain't here cutting up too. That's just how I go over here. Listen, I know y'all be wanting to put me in the corner, but y'all can't put me in the corner because if you put me in the corner, then you won't have no show. Oh, Now, Crash Out, you can't be snitching, okay? Don't y'all be looking at me. We see you, though. Man, I had to do 48 hours. 48. Oh, you was in the clink for 48 hours? I said, bail me out. You mean uniquely? Oh, Lord. Listen, I can't wait to see how the Trump Epstein Cheyenne strategy unfolds. Listen, I'm waiting for that too, because this is scandalous. This is so scandalous. And I'm not about to start bringing this into the Diddy verse, because this has nothing to do with Diddy. I don't care what them people out there saying. Let me just say this, and I don't care who gets mad when I say it. There is a lot of Diddy glizzy gobbling that is going on out here, and it is repulsive. I said it. I think it's a strategy to get the deep state PDFs. They need to get the international PDFs, because this thing is global. It's global. This is worldwide. This is bigger than just our people in power. We're talking everywhere, every damn where. And I can't wait. I hope that they keep digging and they keep finding out more information, because I'm telling you, in the beginning, I kept saying, nah, that man was unalived. He was unalived. He's not alive. But with all of this stuff going into the banking stuff and seeing how this is moved and that is moving and that's moving, and I'm just sitting here like, how is he unalived yet money is still moving around? And why is Ghislaine trying to get out so badly? Y'all know that Epstein had a fund to pay for lawyers for his co-conspirators. So that means that he's more than likely paying for Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer too. There's a lot. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is like a whole, I could actually sit and do 8 hours of Epstein. And all the different ways that this thing goes is so much, and it's so overwhelming. But we're not going to talk about worldwide politicians, royalties, and elites. Exactly 420. I'm going to give us a break from Epstein tonight. I don't even think he's well hidden. I think he's still on his island. I think he's on his island and guarded by the FBI. Meaning he can't leave that island and nobody can come in. He's over there by himself. And that's why Ghislaine is trying to get out, so that she can go over there and be with him. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. not Epstein be on Zoom calls with Russell. Now that's what Diddy should have did. Diddy, when he found out he was under investigation, he should have packed up all his stuff and took a flight right to Bali. Took that jet right to Bali. Said that he was going one place and ended up going someplace else. That's what he should have did. But guess what? That ain't gonna matter neither, because once you're exposed, you're exposed. You can never take this back. Diddy could never take this back. Epstein could never take this back. And anybody who comes out on any list, the flight logs, the black book, which I got something called the black book. Listen, I mean, I got a lot of stuff. Big time narcissist, okay? He's a big time narcissist. I agree with you. So when it comes down to it, what's done in the dark comes to the light. The Diddy mess still confused me. Why he wasn't tried with the original allegations, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even understand why he didn't get the firearms charges, why he didn't get the dealing in obscene matters. I don't understand any of it. I really don't. I really don't. Like, there's something going on. There really is. And I'm what I'm sick of is seeing people, and this is for anybody and everybody who deals in egregious matters. I'm sick of seeing them win. And I'm sick of seeing victims get re-victimized. I'm sick of seeing how people are calling Jane and Cassie whores. Like, what are we talking about here? People saying that they wanted it, they were complacent to it. What are we saying? Are you going to say that these young girls wanted it too? Is that what we saying? Because it's like the air of, okay, I get it. Believe women, but not all women tell the truth. I get it. Everybody lies, not just women. But we villainize them first, and then we villainize them after, and then we celebrate egregious acts. Come on, man. I mean, if she was whoring for dollars, she was whoring for dollars. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that anybody wanted to be subjected to the stuff that they were subjected to. Like, how do you sit in a courtroom and hear and see the same things and then come back? 2 + 2 = 16? How? How did you get to 16? That's only 4. Where'd you get the other 12 from? Follow Epstein's cash and it leads you to Cambodia and the Himalayas. Swagger, you deep into this, huh? I don't know. But anyway, I'm about to go. I'll see y'all back at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to learn about how they are using our DNA in different ways to catch criminals. Where are all the servants? Homeland Security to survey the servers. That's what I want to know. Where are the servers? Abercrombie and Finch is playing dementia. I know. You ain't got no damn dementia. You remember every damn thing. I just never reported on Abercrombie and Finch. The best breast milk you can buy. Ew, Swagger. Anyway, on that note, we're going to end this. I'll see y'all back here at 10 p.m. Remember, you guys, to vibe high so the bullshit don't stick, and try to stay safe in these internet streets. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace, everybody.